Okay, Catrin, lovely to chat with you. And we just want to hear just a little bit more about your experiences with Eyewitness. So can you just tell us a little bit about what led you to apply for Eyewitness?
Yeah, so I just finished my studies and I'd done half a year working as a teacher, then half a year serving on short-term mission in South Africa. And I came back home and I was a little bit lost with what I wanted to do. And I was thinking, well, I really enjoyed serving in South Africa and I enjoyed uh, just serving in a Christian atmosphere. And so I spoke a bit with William Brown, and he said, "Oh, well, you should try out this eyewitness course." Um, and so yeah, so I looked into it. I kind of discussed it back and forth with UFM, finding out what it would require of me, um, and yeah, prayed about it a lot, and decided it was something that I wanted to do, and that I think was good for me and beneficial for the church.
And that was about a year and a half ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the Eyewitness program, it combines working within a church, but also some training and mentoring. How has the training and mentoring side gone for you?
Yeah, it's the training side was very interesting. There were four big themes for four subjects. A lot of it to do with the cultural differences and reminding you that you are probably going into a different culture, and reading through that is quite helpful beforehand to prepare you mentally. I think a lot of people often will go into mission work or short term, whether it be short term or long term in different countries, with their own culture and their own ideals ready to kind of impose it on a church or a community. And just reading through that is a good reminder that you're not going to go into your own culture necessarily, and there are going to be differences and there will be culture shock. So that was very helpful, just reading through that and hearing different people's experiences and different experiences that have happened over hundreds of years of mission, really.
Yeah. And with the mentoring, you're working alongside a pastor and his wife in a local church.
Yeah.
How has the mentoring really helped equip you?
I think it's good support. You're going into a church. For me, I knew the church already, although it was a very new church. But I can imagine someone who's going into a new church who doesn't know anybody. It can be quite scary. And having the pastor and their wife just support you and be there to kind of guide you and back you up in a way. It helps you realize, you do have responsibilities, but if something goes wrong, you can go back to the pastor with it and he will help you, or he will kind of take on the big issues or the big problems that you may come across.
Mm-hmm. And what has your work in the church involved?
A few one-to-ones that I've been doing with some of the girls, some of the mothers. Part of it is a lot of administration as well, whether it be printing flyers or arranging meetings. At the moment, it's Zoom meetings, so creating the Zoom link, sending it out. Sometimes if there's a bit of financial stuff to do, I'll help with that. And then Bible studies. So the way that it works in the church I'm serving is that we do Monday meetings. So we'll have 2 hours just kind of studying the Bible, going through different books. So last year we did Colossians, we did 2 Timothy. This year we're doing Ephesians. And so spending 2 hours on the Monday going through that, and then 2 hours of meeting. Sometimes it will be on a certain topic. Sometimes it will be to do with the church and different things we're organizing and just the way the church works. So a lot of study, a lot of meetings.
Mm. Have you been leading quite a few Bible studies and groups with different women and youth?
Yeah, so last year I did a few one-to-ones through Colossians. This year, I have a Bible study group with two of the students in the church, then also different one-to-ones with some of the mothers and some of the students.
And what have been any personal kind of highlights for you? Any particular encouragements?
I think really being able to grow in my view of just how I approach church. I don't just go to church now just to receive teaching and then I go home and it's over. My activity in the church, I'm more intentional. I take it more seriously. And catching up with people, it matters more to me now than it did before, actually, before I did this eyewitness training. So just the way I've personally grown in my view of church and intentionality, but also how much I've learned as well. You kind of go into it. I've grown up in a Christian family, so sometimes we can have an approach of, oh, I know everything. I know the Bible. I have all the Sunday school answers. It's fine. But you kind of approach a book of the Bible and you realize that, oh, you don't necessarily have all the answers and there's still so much to learn. And so just the growth that I've seen in myself this past year and a half.
And have there been any particular sort of challenges that, things that areas where you've really grown and been challenged?
I think one of the hardest things sometimes is when you put a lot of work into something, whether it be into a one-to-one or a Bible study, and sometimes you don't get the outcome you were hoping for, or the person you're doing a one-to-one with isn't as motivated to do it as you are. And just dealing with that and remembering that just because I have this time set apart to work for the church, not everyone has that time to set apart, or people have different priorities, and how to work through that and to not get so discouraged that you just want to give up, but really considering each person in each case and just taking it from there, really. But it can be quite discouraging sometimes when you prepare a Bible study and then the person last minute says, oh, I'm not coming.
Yeah. And do you think, from your perspective, would you recommend eyewitness to other people? And perhaps what advice would you give them if they're interested in wanting to find out more?
Definitely. I think if someone who's kind of facing the whole question of, okay, what do I want to do next? Who doesn't really know what they want to do, if they've just finished their studies or if they've just finished high school and they're considering something else, then it's definitely a good option, because it's a year set apart, just dedicated to a church, and it teaches you to be a servant, to be an active servant in the church. And yeah, if you're going into a different culture, like I said, don't expect to arrive and impose your own thoughts and your own culture on the church. Learn about the culture, learn the language if you have to, if you're going into a new country, and yeah, just prepare to be humbled and to learn, but also just to find joy in serving others and serving the local church.
It's really helpful. Thank you so much, Catrin, for being with us. Thank you.